Hello, Whittle Springs family. Today we are going to be working in our Whittle Springs Middle School Canvas 102 course. So today's goal is to set up our modules and reconfigure our course navigation. So remember, the end goal here is just to make it consistent for our building and make it easy for our students to understand. What I've discovered throughout my journey in Canvas is that just because something is easy for me doesn't mean it's easy for our students. So we want to make sure that this is student friendly, and that is our overall goal. So I am going to go and check out our course here. So again, I'm in student view, so this is how the students would see it versus what would be our teacher view. So this is back in my little Bitmoji class. We have already set up our home page with our buttons. That was our last video. So today we're going to talk about how to eliminate all of the different navigational links right here that are typically on the side, and also how modules will look. So for us, again, just staying consistent, we want to get rid of anything on this side for the course navigation that is not home, announcements, modules, and Google Drive. For now, that is what we're going to stick to. Again, after a few weeks, once we've really gotten used to this and once our kids have gotten used to it, we can start adding more things. We can add more buttons down here. If you want a button for iExcel or other websites that you go to, we can definitely include those. Edulastic might be one that we would want to include as well. But for now, we just want to keep it simple. And for here, we want it simple as well. When we have other things like assignments, discussions, all of the ones on here, it can be overwhelming for a student and they might not know where to click. For our kids, we want it to be consistent. We want them to be able to go to the bookmarks, click on Canvas, go to their Canvas page, see this, and only have these here. What I found when I was doing my classes is that lots of times kids would click on assignments or quizzes or discussions instead of modules. And I always told them to go to modules because that is the easiest place to house everything, whether it be a file, a page, a quiz, or an assignment. Everything can go there, including external URLs or other links that you would like to put in. So for our students, we want them to live in modules. Okay, and now let's take a look at how modules will be set up. So we are going to do our modules as a building 1 week at a time. And I know for some of you that's going to be different and it might be challenging. But for our students, this is going to be the most user-friendly. What I found in class is that whenever you can chunk it into smaller bits, the kids tend to understand it easier. So what we're going to do is just a week at a time. So I use an example from my ELA class. So say week 1, August 17th through 21st. For this, we'll say we were focusing on Freak the Mighty, chapters 1 through 5. I did include text headers here for the days of the week so they knew things that they were working on. Okay. I would also want to go back in here now that I'm giving the virtual lessons that we'll be doing. I would also want to include more information here on what they were doing Monday because they were not just doing this one assignment. They were also reading, and I would want to include that in there. That hasn't broken down by day. You can definitely include those text headers if you feel like that's going to be useful to break it down a day at a time. Okay. And then one thing I don't know if everyone knows about, and just in case you don't, is you can collapse modules, and I will be showing students how to do this as well. Instead of seeing everything, we click that, and it just collapses it. Okay. The other thing that we want to do is we want to keep the most recent week at the top. So since this is week 1, now we're moving to week 2. We want kids to be able to log in and see that first. Okay. So what I'm going to end up doing here in a minute is show you how you would move that week 2 to the top. But again, if you're not working in it, we can collapse them. Okay. So I'm going to leave student view, and I'm going to go over to my other page where we were building the other day. There we are. And see, now all of these are on here because a lot of them are active. This I means that I see it, but it's not visible to students. But we want to get it to where most of these are not visible to students. Okay. And then we also want to work on our modules. So in order to do course navigation, we'll do that first. I'm going to go to settings. Also, if you ever, I didn't put one on here yet, but if you ever want to choose an image to show up on your dashboard, like I would always choose a picture of a novel that we were working on and put it on here, you can do that as well here. So for navigation, all of these are what is listed in the course navigation. Okay, I want these to go away. So you can do that in a couple of ways. You can click and disable, and it'll show up here. Or you can just drag them down. I'm going to drag them down. I like dragging and clicking. Okay, and again, I'm going to leave modules in Google Drive. The rest of these can just go away. And just so you know, the one here that says syllabus, it's not actually what you would think. When I think of that, I think, oh, it's a syllabus for my class. It's actually a little bit different. It's just almost like a page to live there. And discussions. Okay, ooh, one more. Now, just because I don't have these showing here doesn't mean I can't still use assignments and discussions and things like that. All of those are still accessible through modules. We just want to make it consistent, and we want to keep it in a way that the kids are all going to live here, so everything is in one place. And make sure you click save. I did this the other day, and I didn't hit save, and I had to go back and do it again. Okay, so now you're going to notice on the side all of these little eyes, which means they're hidden. But if you look, announcements and modules are also hidden right now. They're hidden because there's nothing in there. There's no content. It won't be visible until we place content in there. Okay, so let's go to modules and let's add some content. Okay, so again, I'm just going to do it a week at a time. So we want to add a module. Let's call this week 1. And I can do it that way if I'm building it from scratch. Okay. So this would be if I don't have anything already pre-made that I just want to build from scratch, I would start it this way. Now, if I'm going to be moving from Commons, I would do it this way. Okay, I would go to Commons and then import my course. So I can go here, and as you see, there's a bunch of stuff in here. We'll go back to this one. And I'm going to download into my practice course. Okay. Now the thing about Commons is it will take a minute, and the more you have in that module, the longer it will take. Just letting you know. But again, if you're building from scratch, look, it's all there because it wasn't as much. If you're building from scratch, you could just go up to Add Module and click that. Okay. You can also lock your modules and give a specific date to unlock it if you want to go ahead and upload more than just that 1 week at a time. Some people like to put all of them in there and just unlock or publish as they go, and you can definitely do that. Okay. And so as you see, this was from last year. And if I wanted to take last year's, I can definitely go through and edit this. So let's say I want to take mine and edit and make this week 1. I will just do that. The 17th through, I think it's the 21st. And I like to keep the fact that this is what we are working on. So if you were working on a specific unit and you wanted a title here, you could definitely do that. If there was a specific standard or skill you were working on, you could always include that there as well so the students know. Okay. And then this is where I would go back. Again, this is an old from last year, so it's not as organized as I would want it to be this year for my students. So that's when I would go through and I would add text headers. Okay. You can move. Now you can either drag this all the way up to where you want it to go, or you can go over here, move to, and I would just say move to the top, which it's already at now, and it would move it. Okay. And just make sure that it's published so your students can see it. So then, again, you could add another one. If I just wanted to go to Commons and pull another one over, I could do that as well. So let's pull up our next group. Import. And at this point, if you had multiple courses you were importing, of course, you can click on all of those as well. They can do more than one course at a time. That's really nice. And if I go back to modules, let's see if it's there. And it is. All right, so then let's say week 1 is over and we're about to move on to week 2. I would love to collapse that and I want this at the top. So again, we're just going to go over to the header for the module, move module, and I'm going to do move at the top, and it's automatically going to place that. And so we want to just keep whatever module we're working on at the top. So when students log in, it's the first thing they see, and they're not having to continuously scroll down. Another reason for doing them weekly is because when we put, for example, if I put my entire novel study on here, we would just be, let's look at just how much these two are. Just these two. We'd be scrolling and scrolling. I mean, that's not too bad. But once you get into multiple weeks or multiple items, and sometimes we have a lot for a module or a unit, you're just going to keep scrolling, and the kids can get overwhelmed and get a little bit lost, and that's not what we want during this time. So I'm just going to have that there. And again, this is where I could go back in and I can edit it. All right. And like I said, announcements is still not showing up because I don't have an announcement in there. So if I wanted to just go add that, I'm going to say, welcome. So glad you are here. Take a look around and get familiar with the Canvas page. And there we go. And this will eventually go in just a minute. Sometimes it's slow. All right, so let's take a look at student view and see what it would look like. And look, there it is. So now they're all disappeared just the way I wanted it. So these are the only ones. The reason we chose to keep announcements is because this will be a great place for you to leave an announcement for a student about class that day, modules, and of course they will be using their Google Drive a lot this year, and so this is just an easy way for them to access that there as well. All right. So that is how we are setting up our modules and our course navigation for this year. See, so all those other things are not visible. Got all of that there. So this is the basics for it, and this is how the expectation is for all of our teachers this year, is that we will set them up in a similar fashion to this, with some type of introduction, our buttons, only these, home, announcements, modules, and Google Drive to be visible at this time. And like I said, later on, we can start adding more components to it once our students have gotten used to it. But for now, this is the expectation, and this is how we're going to maintain consistency in the building. If you need any help or have any questions, feel free to text me, ask your grade level tech team member. We are here to help you. I can't wait to see how amazing all of your Canvas pages look. I can't wait to see the different personality that you all place into them, and see how our students are finally able to interact with them. It's going to be really great. Great. Have a great day, guys.